Welcome to the video podcast, voted one of the best in the marketing research industry twice in a row, 2019 and 2020. And this year designated by FeedSpot as one of YouTube's very best locations when you're looking for market research, information, and news. This is Research Business Daily Report. We're seen most Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays with a news item that most likely you have not seen or heard before. We do rely on viewer support, but we'll get to that at the end of today's report. I'm Bob Lederer, and I'm in my 27th year as the respected voice in market research. It is certainly rare for anyone in the market research industry to voice strident support for the capability of market research, as Tasmania, Australia visiting marketing professor Mark Ritson just did about the British Broadcasting Corporation in a blog for Marketing Week. I call it something akin to a call to arms for marketers when it comes to their need for market research. Ritzen took on a London Daily Mail report last week that said that the BBC's announced intention to spend 50 million British pounds sterling on research is really a waste. The newspaper report contained a decidedly negative reaction from an actual MP over that expenditure and the size of it at this moment in time. In response, Ritzen went into action, applauding the BBC, quote, for not taking its amazingness for granted. He said it keeps listening, understanding, and striving to be even better. That should not be a source of criticism, but rather one of great pride and admiration. Ritzen noted that the BBC's £50 million investment is actually going to be equally divvied up over 4 years, and he wrote, "It makes perfect sense to plan this investment in a recurring annual manner." Explaining how and why annual corporate market research is the way to go, Ritzen noted that, quote, every market-oriented organization has 3 cadences of research. The first comes with a new CMO's arrival or contemplation about a new product or market. The second is the annual research that is probably a necessary update for the organization on the market segments and associated behavior feeds that affect its brand, services, etc. The third research project is the occasional inquiry into specific micro issues such as pricing, drops in market share, etc. Ritzen analyzed the BBC's plan as the necessary commitment, he says, that every good company must make. The 12.5 million British sterling looks large, but by any corporate measure, he insisted it is not excessive. He related his many conversations with CMOs over the years that include the issue of how much of their budget should they devote to research. The stock answer, Ritzen said, is when it's a big first-time deep dive into a market, maybe up to 10% of the spend could go that way. In more regular annual update periods, that figure, he continued, should drop to less than 5%, but it remains a crucial 5% and essential in ensuring that the remaining 95% of marketing spending is invested appropriately. The BBC allocation of 1% of its revenues to research is in Ritzen's mind, quote, what it should be, which means it is not frivolous. He observed it's always tempting to see the 5% spent on research as being a superfluous cost that is better spent on tangible marketing wins like product development or juicy promotions. But this, he insisted, is a false economic way of thinking. There's an old saying in marketing, he said, when you put the head on the chicken runs faster. That 5% of your budget that looks like superficial, retrospective navel-gazing is always going to return its investment many times over. And Ritzen concedes the ROI of putting that much research money into a company is contingent on investing the money in the right research and with the right partners, but that, he insisted, is an entirely different question from whether research makes sense in the first place. Finally, underscoring without any doubt his belief in corporate research, Ritzen opined that a brand manager who is not brand tracking isn't really brand managing anything. That's a wrap on this edition of the Research Business Daily Report. Now, we did mention at the start of today's RBDR, that we'd hope you'll become a supporter of ours, and that means specifically becoming an RBDR Patreon supporter, which means providing a monthly contribution. You can decide exactly how large or small that actually should be. And you can make your decision and deliver it to us by visiting our exclusive crowdfunding platform at patreon.com/RBDR. When you get there, select the level of support that really you think works for you and that we deserve. And we say thank you in advance for whatever that number happens to be. We hope you have a good research day, and we'll welcome you back here on Wednesday. Until then, please stay safe.